We've been together about 7 years now, and
You did it nicely that time. You did it right. It doesn't matter.
we've been, I can't fucking stop laughing now. Can we do you first?
We first started out looking for a bass player because we had to have, the rhythm section had to be there. After we really got into the project, we found a keyboard player. We fiddled around with different sounds and different styles and different members. We changed drummers a couple times, we changed guitarists a couple times. It came down to, it was always the three of us, Jeff, Ken, and myself. We pretty much became the nucleus of the band. And then, of course, we've had other members who've been in a long time now. The last 3 years has actually been Masterpiece under a different set of names.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a real nice hand for Sweden!
I guess you could say it's just really hard to keep people in a project for a long period of time that want to stay dedicated to it. Guitar players, I've always wanted to work with another guitar player, but I'll tell you, man, guitar players are out of their fucking minds. I'm one of them, and I'm out of my mind, too. I was really lucky when I found Anders. He really covers that other half, and together I think it's a great marriage. I guess what we tried to achieve with this thing was just something that we could be proud of as individual people, something that you would always be happy about and go, you know, I did this, man. You know, I'm proud of this, this is good.
Finishing the project was really just, it was a great feeling.
This thing turned into something that was way beyond our capabilities of doing, and we had to figure out every step of the way as to how to achieve each little tiny step. I just had to step back and go, well, okay, well, we know how we can't do it, how can we do it? I think with what we had to work with and the way we did it, I don't think it could have been done any better. We had found a keyboard player, Dave Roman. We started messing around with some songs after he learned all the material that we had. And that first song that he and I put together was Illusion.
At the time, we had no idea it was going to be a concept album, but as we began to play it live, we began to feel more like there was more to the song than just a song. It took a bunch of people going crazy and burning down LA to make it really come to mind as to what we wanted to do with it. We were playing a show, and that night the riots broke loose, and we had to haul our equipment to and from a show, thinking that we were going to get pelted with rocks or pulled out of our vehicles and stoned to death. We didn't know what was going to happen, but we did know one thing, and that was that chaos was the main idea for the concept at that point. And we knew that from there we would develop the rest of it.
Well, at first we wanted to just see if we could do it. That was hard enough in itself.
I felt that the best way to deliver a product to the public these days is in a full conceptual album video style. If we'd have had the budget, it would have looked more like Natural Born Killers by Oliver Stone. Basically, we were doing the same thing, just with a lesser budget.
How did we do the videos? You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Waking up and trying to figure out how to get 6 guys and a couple of people who are not actors together, and then try to tell someone who doesn't know anything about acting how to do something in order to get it across on video to portray what you're trying to portray.
Okay, take 3, action!
Half the videos were done before the recording was actually even done, which may sound weird, but it was done in such a way that we'd do a stupid little 4-track. We'd go out and we'd film the video, and knowing good and damn well that we were going to record the album later, and then we'd apply the good audio to the old video.
It started out with me trying to figure out how to edit.
This is all very tough. You're having to look into the future, and who can predict the future?
You get somebody with the talent like of Jeff Sargent, who is an editor, and also Ken Bailey. Between the two of them, you could take almost anything they shoot on film and they could turn it into something. They're uncanny. It's great.
The reason we turned into producers, editors, engineers, cameramen is because everybody just destroyed whatever it was we were trying to put out. So we just said, okay, let's stop. We recapped everything and said, why can't we do this ourselves? We're the only one that has a damn clue as to how we want it to look. So instead of having everybody change what we wanted to do, we just turned in and did it all ourselves. It was the only way to do it.
In my head, everything is big budget. When you come right down to it, the cameras that we've been able to use and the money we've had is not big budget. That's the hardest thing to me, is to try to take the ideas that I have, or that Ken has, or that Jeff has, and put them in perspective as to what we can actually do.
I worked in a post-production facility, and I wanted to explore editing, and what better way than to grab a camcorder and go and shoot your own band. We did a couple of videos that had nothing to do with this concept that were done before we even started working on this. We realized that it was hard, but we could do it. We had the technology, we had the equipment at our disposal, so when the time came, it was basically just jump in and do it.
Toughest song to record, toughest instrument to record. Either way you look at it, in my shoes, it was all tough, because I've never gone to school to learn any of this stuff. I'd just sit back and I'd watch everybody else butcher things, and I'd go, well, I could butcher things just like that, and it turned out that I didn't quite butcher them as bad as other people did. Finally found somebody that I could work with who knew a little more about the technical side, and it was Ken Polakovich, who did the Offspring album.
That clicks down here on the bass.
There were no techniques. We threw a damn mic up and we went for it. Although I had all these blown out of proportion ideas that there's got to be these fantastic ways of recording this instrument to make it better. No. Anybody who's out there who thinks there's this wonderful way of doing it, unless you've got millions of dollars and a Mutt Lange sitting in the studio with you, you're probably not going to get them. So just be the best you can and record it with a mic and go for it.
The most difficult part of the recording that I had was working all day and staying up all night trying to sing like that.
Trying to figure out how to keep everybody together so that you had a complete band when you finish this thing 2 years later. Never having money, trying to figure out how to pay for each session when you go in and record this thing. Where we're going to come up with cameras, equipment, all of these things, always stuff breaking down. You know, how are we going to fix all of this stuff? You got no money, no way of doing anything, no investors, no nothing, you know. You just got yourself, and you're figuring out how to overcome all of these things. So it's all tough.
As far as consistency goes in the videos, you know, sometimes we have facial hair, sometimes we don't. Thank God we didn't start doing these in the 80s, or we'd all be in trouble. Yeah, trying not to fall out of the back of the truck was a problem.
I bet people are driving by going, what the hell is that guy doing in the back of the truck?
You know, standing on the railroad tracks with your back to a train coming, that, you know, got a little scary from time to time. But for the most part, no, you know, consistency on shooting the videos, it's just a matter of, you know, remembering what it needs to look like and just making it look like that. If you got a Christmas tree, you got a Christmas video. That Christmas tree would have been considered a fire hazard by the time we shot the video for it. Thank God Ken left it up, because if he hadn't left the Christmas tree up, we'd have had a hell of a time trying to find a Christmas tree in, what was it, you know, May or June.
Well, I think there's only one advantage to a budget constraint, and that means that you have to make a decision as quick as possible on everything that you do.
All they're going to do is say, get out of here.
The majority of people, you know, usually their first or second take is usually the most honest. And I think if you can deliver honesty with your playing, that's probably the best thing to do. So there were no special techniques or none of that stuff. From the beginning, it was a success, just to take on the idea of doing such a big thing.
It was a great feeling being able to make something happen out of nothing. The whole thing was crazy. How could we have ever thought we could do this? But we did it, so there we are.
Just the fact that we have it done and we can show something for what we've done, to me, is a success.
That's a success in itself, to get 6 guys to agree to do something like this.
The fact that we've done it and that it came out 99% the way we wanted it to, that it's a success.
You know, this is going to be a documentary someday.